yoga teaches us how to actually, go out there and fight for racial injustice, fight against economic injustice, fight for animal rights, fight for environmental rights, without being, unfocused, kind of overly emotional people. Here again, yoga, the yoga allows you to become rational and compassionate and critical and intellectual. And when I say intellectual, I mean using the intellect, using reason, and not allowing the emotions to drive you in your political efforts.
Yeah, I really like the word you were using before as well with pondering. It's also critical pondering, get people out of your class, critical pondering about what was said there. And I think it is extremely important to leave messages of politics or activism or any sort of values you have. I think as a yoga teacher, it was the reason why I wanted to become a yoga teacher was because I wanted to have a platform where I could still reach people and talk about these, justice in general, So I think that's.
And I think that it's also like important for a yogi to understand that that while you feel like that the way that your point of view on that issue is the right point of view, you can't approach it from that point of view. Because the other person that you're talking about feels like that they're right too.
Yeah.
That's really the hard part.
Yeah.
Is to and so if it comes from a I gotta be right kind of point of view, you're not going to really. You may win a battle or two, but you're never going to win the war.
No, exactly.
So you have to allow the yoga to happen so that you become generous and you become thoughtful and you become patient and that you are able to also not only speak but listen.
Yeah, exactly. Be humble.
Yeah. And within your intellectual arguments or debate, express things that are always remember you're planting seeds, right? So if I have a discussion with somebody about animal rights, and they've never thought about like animal rights or where their food comes from or animal agriculture, my first interaction with them is not to change their mind. It's to plant a seed.
Yeah.
Just like if it was in the physical practice. Today you may not do a headstand. We're going to do a half headstand. You're just going to put your head on the floor.
Yeah. That's all we're doing today.
That's enough. That's enough today. That's fine. It's enough. And so the same thing is true with this idea of politics, and also I think that one of the things that we have to kind of start reckoning with is that as the world becomes more and more global, the influence and the influence of unbridled capitalism has become this divide between the idea of what if something is liberal or is conservative, right? That you have people over here that everything is about profit and growth, and that's a conservative idea. And then you have over here like liberal is like it's about socialism and these ideas of, and actually, that's so destructive on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have to kind of figure out how to take out where leadership has manipulated us. Government leadership has manipulated the masses into believing that it has to be one or the other. There has never been a point in time in human history where there wasn't some kind of economic exchange, whether it was, seashells and rocks from that mountain there that I was trading with you for your seeds. And so that idea that there has always been that. That's what makes humans human in a way, weird way. But the idea of also that we have become that we will only vote for our own economic interest, or we will only support things that benefit us personally, is also not part of what you were saying, is that idea of community.
Yeah.
It's not a sustainable community.
Yeah.
So and that's where we are.
Yeah. And that's also, do you feel like, thinking of the things that you were just saying, are you taking it with you also on your kind of like, I don't know, like your mission and vision board for Urban Sadhu? Like, do you have what, like, if I would ask you now, and we're nearly, like, this would be pretty much my second last question, like, what does that vision board look like for you?
So the vision board really does, like, it looks like that one, that idea of in a lot of what the way the vision board looks at it is speaking from the point of view of an American. I'm here. I am more concerned about my community than, like, that's my interest. My interest right now is my community and how my community is suffering right here in this location this locale.
And this time we're living now in the pandemic time. And
so racial injustice is a big issue for us, that that my country is built upon the backs of Black and brown bodies that have been left out of the American dream.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And how do you and I believe that yoga can unify though and help us because America is the greatest social experiment that has ever right?
It's a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
So you go to places like Norway and it's still all white.
Yeah.
It's not there's not that kind of diversity, but America, there's a lot of diversity, and its idea of what it is based upon continuing that diversity.
Yeah.
So what is it that you have in your toolbox that actually creates unity over diversity?
Wow, that's beautiful. Unity over diversity. Yes.
And we're always going to be different. I'm to be gay and I'm always going to be it's like, but there has to be something internally in me that actually is able to see the similarity of you.
Yeah.
That I can drop that thing that makes me a demographic in politics and makes me human. Yeah. That's a big thing, and that idea that anybody can be a sadhu, which is a holy person. Anybody can be a holy person. That it's available to all of us. It's not. It's but you have to want it.
Yeah.
So those are some of those. And right now, I think the racial inequality, the division between left and right,
Yeah.
the idea that that capitalism should just be an unbridled orgy is big for me right now as a yoga teacher and
Yeah.
the founder
Yeah.
of new identification
Yeah.
of method.
And do you feel also, and this was something that I was really curious about, and I mean, my phone was exploding because I have a lot of American friends. So for America, do you have hope back into your heart now with Biden being the president? Do you think will it be good change?
So I think that what we're going to, when it was announced, I was at the front desk. There was a class going on, and I literally started crying. I mean, I cannot tell you how, because I view what we've experienced as in the last 4 years as, I mean, I don't want to get too much into it, but I was raised in Alabama.
Yeah.
Enough that I remember the politics of George Wallace, who was a racist and ran for president on a racist platform. We have not seen this kind of divisiveness in language since George Wallace. And some of the ways that the administration took and put into practice were what is called the Southern Agenda. It's created back in the Nixon era of how to get white religious Southerners to vote for Republicans. And it was a lot of divisive racial language. They were using plays from that playbook. I think the beauty of this is even though America is so almost evenly divided, it's saying that we are rejecting this idea that white nationalism, white neo-Nazism, religious fascism, that racial and gender and sexual politics is going to be the deciding factor of how we view ourselves. We will allow the upper parts of the leadership to use to divide us. That I'm hopeful for. That I'm very hopeful. That has been that whole and I don't think we're out of the woods.
No.
I mean, I think once you open up the genie bottle, it's very hard to get the genie back into the bottle. So and that's what Trump did. He made it okay to be a racist. He made it okay to be a white nationalist. He made it okay to put a swastika representative of neo-Nazism on your arm and walk down the street.
Yeah.
You know, and that's frightening.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, there is a very thin line between strongman and fascism. Yeah. And America historically has never experienced fascism. Europe, you have experienced fascism many times.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think there is a naivete within Americans that they don't understand and know what fascism actually looks like.
Yeah.
And we were very close to fascism. And even right now, with the idea that there is not a peaceful passing on of power, gentlemanly way is a tipping your hat toward fascism.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Has that already happened, or that still has to happen?
No, I mean, I was just sent a link to there's a minor appointee that the Trump administration, each administration gets appointed. They start to act upon the chain of reactions that the power is switched. The woman who has been put in that position has not written the first letter to actually send it to all of the organizations and government branches, that this action now has taken place. There's a new president.
Oh, gee.
And so I was given her personal number because